Today, I'd like to welcome a new sponsor of the podcast, the Media Insider. A lot of small businesses are attempting to be successful without a clear communication strategy. The Media Insider helps small businesses and entrepreneurs build powerful, professional brand and communication strategies without the big agency price tag. From messaging to media visibility, they give you the insider tools and step-by-step guidance you need to stand out, connect with your audience, and grow your business with confidence. Ready to look like the pro you already are? Visit themediainsider.co and start building a brand as well as communicate successfully to your perfect audience. The Media Insider, where big ideas don't need big budgets. Hello, listeners. Today's guest is basically the Beyoncé of breath support. We're talking about someone who's turned the mysterious, often intimidating world of voice training into an open door for, well, all of us. Shower singers, Broadway hopefuls, reluctant public speakers, Jana Szabo has coached them all. She has a background that starts in New York, winds through Seattle, takes a deep detour into Indian classical music, and then, because of course, she lands right here on our beloved Whidbey Island. Jana doesn't just teach people how to sing. She teaches them how to show up, fully, bravely, and unapologetically. Whether it's kids in the Whidbey Children's Choir or adults terrified of a karaoke mic, she guides them to find their voice, and not just one in their throat. And here's the kicker. Her method? It's like yoga met music school and had a really emotionally intelligent baby. We're talking vocal technique, movement, healing energy, and yes, some straight up scientific voodoo called vocology. I think that's how you say it. I cannot wait for you to meet her. Get ready to breathe a little deeper and maybe even sing in your car with the windows down. This is Jana Szabo. Hi, Jana.
Hi, Maxie.
Thank you for having me in your home down here in Clinton. Is this Clinton?
It is Timberline Road, line of timber.
You just don't know all the houses that are back here from the road.
Oh.
Because there's, the woods are really heavier down here than they are on the north end of the island.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. It's so nice to have you here, Maxie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for contacting me and asking me about my podcast. And listener, I want to tell you something about Jana. I have people who contact me to be on the podcast and want me to promote their business. And I'm all about the story. And so she was the very first one who I requested her to tell me about her story and gave her some little things to do. And she did it in 24 hours? And it was good. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, I was so excited for the opportunity to meet you.
So you heard the intro, listener. I'm interviewing someone who is very musically inclined. Your whole life mission, really, is music, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so one of the things about Jana we're going to do today is talk about her journey, her story. And I feel it's incredibly interesting how people got to this island. And so you'll hear about that too. So let's start. You were immersed in music from a very young age, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me, or tell our listener, the earliest music memory and how it shaped your love of the voice?
Well, I was 3 and my mom made me a tutu and I had to go on stage, and she held my hand all the way till when I got on stage, and I was dancing and singing both at the same time with one other little girl.
Like Shirley Temple?
Well, I did watch Shirley Temple, but I don't know if I was as good, but it was an audience of all our family, friends, because of the dance studio that I was in. I wasn't it was very friendly, and I was a star in that realm.
So New York City, Seattle, Whidbey Island, what led you on that path? So tell us a little bit about that, and how did all these places influence your creative journey?
Well,
we can start with New York.
Grew up in Manhattan.
Okay.
European parents, spoon-fed the arts. All of our families were taken to the same teachers.
Really?
The same dance classes, the same art classes. So our teachers were like Juilliard trained. To please understand that these are all European families.
Yeah.
So mainly always going to the international sources where people were multilingual and where they would feel comfortable. And at that time, everything in Manhattan was very open. So studied piano. We all studied piano with the same teacher.
Right.
She was a Juilliard teacher. We studied dance at the same dance school, and singing was at that same spot. And we had recitals in both of those all year round. I also went to Museum of Modern Art for art classes as I grew older. And my teacher there was Mr. Lord, so that was pretty intimidating. It was during the time of Jackson Pollock and Andy Warhol. And that was kind of strange because I grew up with the classics.
Yeah.
So that was like a big switch. I was there when everything switched. And my dad taught at School of Visual Arts. So I went there for free. And I took dance classes and sang in piano bars as I grew up. I had my vocal coach and, ran to work. And I lived in the Middle East after high school. And when I came back, I took a little typing test. And then I got a secretarial job.
Oh.
And then we'd all go to work, go out to the clubs, sing in piano bars. And I was taking dance classes on 14th Street and 6th Avenue. And it was choreographed theater. But the teacher either was from Seattle or had taught here. And so there were quite a lot of students in the class from there, but there were also actors and dancers from Chorus Line, people on TV. So I was just about to put my photograph together and 8.5 by 11 and go for auditions on Broadway. And
so the people you knew from Seattle, is that what influenced you to come over here?
In the classroom, the dance teacher was from Seattle. And then I met somebody from Seattle in Washington Square Park. My aunt was looking for, she worked at Bridgeport, Connecticut in the administrative office. And I wanted to go to a school outside of New York City because I wanted to have a little more freedom than the classical background I had in piano. And I had broken my shoulder and I couldn't practice as long. Originally, I wanted to become a classical pianist. So that changed to becoming a singer. Okay. And my family wasn't as excited about that.
Being a singer.
But it was fine. And then looked at different colleges outside of New York and was sort of thinking of auditioning for Juilliard or Manhattan School of Music. And then I met this person in Washington Square Park, and he was from Seattle, and everything started to click. And then my father came with me to a Soho recording studio because I knew a lot of people down there. Yeah. And I was a little intimidated, but the acceptance program at Cornish was you needed a tape of 3 songs, different styles. And then I had my classical piano background.
So tell the listener what Cornish is.
Oh, Cornish Institute of the Arts.
I'm not from Washington. Oh. So when you said that in your bio, that's the first time I'd heard of Cornish.
So Cornish Institute of the Arts is in Seattle, and it originally was on Capitol Hill. And now it is in downtown Seattle. And what happened, it's a private school, but right now, this year, they've joined with Seattle University, which has become better for the students in a private school because then they'll have the requirements so they can go directly to a master's degree program. So I came to an audition and I got accepted on the spot. And I was working in a PR firm in Manhattan. And I don't know, I went back and then I just came out here on $100. And I remember the people that worked in the financial aid department were musicians, and they were telling me they couldn't get me a student grant. I said, I'll help you. Yeah. Because I was from out of state. Yeah. So they were telling me they couldn't do it. And then I helped James Vaughn. He was a trumpet player. And then I was set, and I was able to go to school, and I did work study. Okay. And it's a 4-year college program.
Wow. So that must have been when Seattle wasn't as expensive as it is now.
The school now, for 4 years, I'm glad you're sitting. Okay. For a music college with no placement at all, musicians and actors coming out of school, $165,000 for 4 years. Wow. And it was about 40 then. Wow. Imagine that, in 81. That's when I came out here.
Yeah, I figured that you and I were close to the same age. I was still in high school then, but I wasn't too far behind you. Right. But even the cost of living was probably way less.
It was
probably cheap compared to New York.
And it was so much fun. The jazz scene was really large here. I mean, Wynton Marsalis, who's extremely famous and on Juilliard's staff, his first performance on the West Coast, I believe, was at a club I worked at in Pioneer Square, Nels.
Is that still there?
It became Ernestine's.
Okay.
It is. I don't know if it's still there as Ernestine's. It was Ernestine Anderson's. Okay. Who is a singer. She bought it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then you came out to Whidbey Island, and I know we're going to cover this more in a little bit, but how did you get out here from
Seattle. Did you stay? You went overseas, and then you came back to Seattle?
Yes.
So there was a jaunt. You just didn't come directly to Whidbey Island from Seattle.
So my last year of college, I put together a program as if you were going to Antioch.
Okay.
And it was sort of against the grain at Cornish, but I was working for the student council, so I sort of finagled it.
Right.
And I wanted to study East Indian music and other things that they offered there. It was a sister school to Cornish. When these schools were not matriculated, they were arts centers. Okay. Nellie Cornish and Dorothy Elmhurst in England. And they were friends, and they sent teachers back and forth. And I actually went there to study in the archives. Rabindranath Tagore was a friend of Gandhi, so I actually went there specifically for that. So when I came back to get my degree, which is a bit of another finagling because the president of the school changed at that time. But I got it, and that was in 85, and I started teaching in Seattle. I also worked part-time at the Pike Place Market.
Oh, okay.
And that was easy to do, to teach and to work a few days a week.
Yeah.
Because they don't really require a lot from you. Right. And you make a lot of money. At that time, made a lot of money.
Right.
And it was a great way for me to promote myself, my teaching.
Okay.
So I'd be performing and teaching.
Oh.
And after a number of years, I realized that I could have a business at the Pike Place Market. So I developed a product line. Well, I was using these spa products that I made.
Yeah. And
then people were like, you should.
That's before people called it a side hustle. You had a side hustle.
People said, oh, you should screen in with those products. And so I was so impressionable. I wanted to be one of them. Okay. I wanted to be one of the marketeers. Yeah. So I did that. And the thing was, Maxie, that I was making body care products, and the longer I made them, the more I would get to the source, like the bee farmer and the farmer. And after a while, I thought, I'm not really being that authentic with that.
Right.
I'd rather be out in the country and do both, do my music and grow flowers.
Well, I mean, that's not an odd combination, quite frankly.
That's what I thought. And I thought, well, it's a lot cheaper to live on a beautiful island than to go out and go camping like every other weekend.
Yeah. So we have your path. So let's talk about, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your interest in the Indian classical singing shift that you did. And I have on my notes that it's ethnomusicology. Am I saying that right?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about that a little bit and your understanding of singing in that voice.
I feel that after studying the jazz that I did and experiencing that, I felt like it was an extended way to use my voice as an instrument. Because in classical singing, you're not using words. So you're using shapes. So it's a lot more like vocal exercises. It is easier to, it's a great way to come back into singing a song, because then I understood the placement of my voice a lot better. It was kind of it turned out to be just some kind of a gift.
Right.
That I ended up doing that, and I didn't really know how that would have related. Before
That's interesting.
Shapes. When people sing...
Are you talking about shapes with your voice?
Right, because it's like sculpting. When you hear somebody speak, you don't want to hear them speaking in a monotone. So that happens in singing. And the idea is when words break into song, that's actually a thing. So it's a different language. A word, a vowel carries a melody line, a sound longer than a consonant. The consonant's more of so the consonants are the percussive tools, and the vowels are your melody. So with East Indian singing, that's really all you're doing. You're just doing shapes, singing shapes. So it opened up my voice.
So would you feel uncomfortable giving us an example of that?
Well, there's a song that I wrote that I can sing, and I do something in it that has that sort of thing in it. Would you like me to do that?
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love it.
It's without any accompaniment.
That's okay.
Okay. The rose grows out of the ground. The rose grows out of the ground. That's where the life is planted. That's where the life is planted. Like that. Yeah. And then it would continue other shapes.
I got that better. I got that better when you sang that. Your description and then you singing it.
Thank you for asking me. It's sort of like when I met this, where I lived in Belltown, this photographer who would live with gypsies in different parts of the world, Joseph Kadai, and he said, he knew I had a Hungarian background, so he said, will you sing me a gypsy song? And I was like, okay, just like what you just did.
Okay. Well, knowing that you're a music teacher, a voice teacher.
I love that you asked me that. Yeah, that was really great of you.
Too shy about it.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Whidbey Island, since this is a podcast about the stories of Whidbey Island. What inspired you, besides coming out here wanting to be more farmland and attuned to nature? How has it shaped your work as an artist and educator living out here on Whidbey Island?
Community.
Okay, community.
Yeah, my heart is based in being in community musically and inspiring children. This is like a children's island and a retiree island, and the children need to be, the children that come to me want to be inspired.
Right.
They're very excited, and I join them in their excitement, whether it's in learning or writing a monologue or singing. And then the retired students they've been waiting all their lives to sing. So here I have that. I did not have that combination in the city. Being in nature for me is inspiring for me musically, and I need the peace to create. And that doesn't exist in the city anymore for me.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's the main.
Very, very peaceful out here. Yeah, it really is.
And the community is filled with creative people.
Yes, I've discovered that. In fact, I was telling you, and I were mentioning Andre Ferrante, and we were talking about how it might seem like my podcast is gearing to everything in the arts, but the thing is there's so many great stories of people who have come here because of the arts. I had Dennis Brown say that he thinks that it's the music scene here is better than anywhere in Seattle.
You know, I think so too. And I remember the person that was my friend James Budnick was convincing me to move to this island, because he did say, Jana, out of all of the islands, most of the people from all different parts of the world in the arts are coming here. I trusted him. I needed that because things did change in Seattle. When it went from the jazz to the grunge scene, I was putting on shows instead of the clubs that would hire us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you now, being on the island, is about the creative spirit here, defining that. I understand it's peaceful and also community, but is there a specific undertone of creative spirit here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Once you create a program, people come out of the woodwork. If you're going to be a leader in a program, it's usually something that about 5 or 6 other people have thought of and never did. And they all want to join you. And I can't say that I've ever had that experience anywhere else, except when I lived in England. But I lived in the countryside, and England was a very creative area. I mean, it was similar to here.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about performance. Do you prefer a concert hall, a bluff, or someone's home? Because all of those things happen here. You know, I found out this year there's a music salon behind Home Depot in Oak Harbor, which totally cracked me up. But Andre was like, yeah, I've sang there many times.
Wow.
What?
That's amazing. See, I didn't know now. I just found out.
Yeah.
I'll be on the phone calling them.
Yeah, and ask them. Yes, absolutely. So do you prefer private, smaller, or big concert halls, or, smaller venues?
Well, it's very interesting. It's sort of changed. I've gotten much more interested in venues where people will listen, like Outcast Theater. I'm friends with Ned Farley, and I use the space to put on performances or workshops. I've recently discovered the Hessler Barn. Jim Hessler, he is a concert pianist, and he has a pseudo sort of barn where his beautiful piano is, and he gives concerts, and the acoustics are outstanding. One does not even need equipment. It's so beautiful. So that is a room where everybody's sort of seated on couches and facing the artist. So people are listening. I do like some of the clubs, like the Tap Room. We just played there. I'm not as much, because it's small, it's intimate, everybody's listening, even if they're talking to each other and eating.
Right.
It's intimate. I did a house concert with Randy Halberstadt and Toby Stone. They came from the city. A friend put on a performance in her home. I love that so much. So if I lived in New York, I'd like to play in Carnegie Hall. But that doesn't mean that I would be able to. I'm just saying that I do prefer, at this point in my life, where people that come want to listen. They don't want to spend the money on the ferry. They don't want to spend the money on parking and then dinner. Right. And the retired community would really prefer to hear something wonderful nearby.
Let's pause for a moment and take time for information about sponsoring Local Whidbey Podcast. Season 1 launched with a bang. I started with just over 2,000 unique listeners in my very first month, and it just kept growing. Over the course of the season, more than 9,000 people tuned in to hear real conversations with artists, entrepreneurs, farmers, musicians, nonprofit leaders, and everyday locals doing extraordinary things. And since the last week in January 2025, the website withmagsy.com pages have been opened more than 226,000 times. And get this, even during our summer hiatus, the podcast continued to draw new ears. And get this, even during our summer hiatus, the podcast continued to draw new ears. We averaged over 1,500 unique listeners each month without releasing a single new episode. I guess once a Whidbey Island fan, always a Whidbey Island fan. So now with season 2 in full swing, I've got one more exciting update. I'm officially opening the podcast up to sponsorships. If you're a local business or creative venture looking to connect with an audience that already loves Whidbey Island as much as you do, there's a shiny new sponsorship page on withmagsy.com. You'll find it under the podcast tab. Go take a peek. I must confess, I'm not a fan of loads of ads that go on forever in podcasts. So as not to be a hypocrite, I'm looking for businesses who want to get a message out that is helpful and interesting with my guidance and works well with this podcast. After much thought and being a communication strategist for over 25 years, I'm looking for sponsors who help the community thrive and can give me an ad content that is highly trackable because it strikes a chord or is highly helpful. Whether you've listened from the start or you're just now discovering this island storytelling series, I'm so glad you're here. If you're interested and want to have a chat, again, check out sponsorships under the podcast tab at withmagsy.com. Now, let's get back to the interview.
So I don't need a big concert hall.
Yeah, that's good. There's just something about an intimate setting. It just changes the whole thing.
Well, it's so beautiful. And what they're doing at Wicca under the tent, we played there, and people are just so receptive. I mean, I think performing since I'm a child, I really didn't have a way to communicate, like talking to my family members, like relatives came over, I would always be, can you please dance for us? So it's such a great thing. It's such an easy thing for me if I'm singing and then I get off stage and then I can talk to people then because somehow they're touched.
Right.
And the walls are down. And so music needs to be listened to, especially I feel during these times.
Right.
It makes such a difference in my day, and it seems to be affecting others in the same way. And also when I go and listen to music, I feel the same way.
And, it brings people together. So
yes.
Let's talk about your voice instruction. Just from me hearing about you, and I've said, do you know Jana? She's just amazing. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, you have worked with students of all ages.
Yes.
What surprises you most about people when they start exploring their voice?
They do this, all of them.
Yeah, clearing their throat.
They're shy. The children either have been singing since they're really little, performing. They don't know which direction to go. Right. They want help. The adults hide. And when they come here after a few lessons, I say, when you walk through the door, you're not a novice anymore. You're an artist. That's how I look at you. You're an artist. And I'm giving you the paintbrushes. And so this is what's happening here. And I said, you wouldn't be coming here if you didn't know that you had that in you. And so all of a sudden, there's a release, there's a relax, and it's a language. It's a language we can communicate in. Somehow we find our way through those doors.
You also kind of feel like you're a therapist too.
Right, but the problem with it is that anytime that anybody has thought that I'm a therapist, never really works out because I'm not really good at being told a bunch of stuff, but I find that I can usually find the issue through the sound. That is correct.
Well, the only reason I asked that is because just a little bit of a quip on my background. So my mother has a beautiful voice, started taking piano real young and played piano her whole life. And then when she had 5 children, we all had good voices like she did. So we sang in church a lot together.
So nice.
Together as a family.
That's
and
so
then
wonderful.
If people came over to the house, my dad made us sing.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much we thought it was wonderful.
The heart needs to sing.
Yes. But for me personally, I'm a group singer and someone that can harmonize very well. I never wanted to be up in front doing a solo or anything like that. My sisters were totally into that, but not me. But my mom, when I was a senior in high school, really wanted me to take from a professional. And so I gave in and I ended up quitting, and I'm an alto. And the reason is because she wanted me to perform in contests and would give me music. And the one, when I walked out the door and said, I'll never be back, she gave me music about a leprechaun running through the clover. And I'm like, I can't sing this with a straight face. And she goes, well, who cares what the words say? It's all about, this is really emphasize your alto voice. And I'm like, I can't do it. It's not what I want to do for a living in the future. I just can't do it. And the reason, and this is the reason, the therapist part, I think music and singing is so subjective. And I have a technology side to me, which isn't. It's factual. And so there's not only judgment in the technology world, but there's judgment in the art world. And that's really the therapy part I was mentioning. Is like, I don't know why I'm that way, because I think music is so subjective that if you're singing, half the people could love it and half of them could hate it. So I just didn't do it.
Right. And even if I have a set list and I'm at the gig, if I don't feel the tune, we pull it out.
Okay.
And so a person should not be singing a song that they don't relate to.
Like leprechauns?
And contests are out. I'm against contests. Well, it's one way to fail, and then the other one is intimidating. How do we? Yeah, so I do think it's therapeutic. It can be therapeutic.
Yeah. Totally deer in the headlights. However, when I'm singing with other people, I'm not nervous.
Isn't that great? Well, then you found your singing.
Well, now I sound like a frog, and my mother says it's because when you don't continue to use your voice your whole life, that's the reason you sound like a frog.
That's also, it's not, it's right. And then there's the middle ground where I come in.
Right.
And I'm that person that gets that person to sing.
Okay. Yeah.
The way they want to.
Right.
You know, if a person comes and they never want to sing solo.
Right.
But they just want to not think they sing like a frog.
Yeah.
I'm a good choice.
What a great laugh. Okay, so let's talk about your Szabo Studios. And one of my notes that I have in here is that you've led many children's choirs, right?
Yes.
So what's the impact that you feel that you've had on children and that creative outlet? Because there's so many outlets these days for kids to choose from. As far as music and the arts, what do you see? Let me see. One of the things I was thinking of and didn't write in here is arts versus sports. Both are creative outlets. But I think that arts, in my own opinion, you can carry on throughout your life, right?
Right.
You can't always be playing soccer.
Right. And children want to write songs that they want to perform. So in my choirs, that's what they get to do.
Nice.
Not for all the songs.
Yeah.
1 or 2. But what's so wonderful about that, someone in the choir always shows up to compose a song. And that startles me because it's usually very good. And then the choir sings it. Children's choirs, they love to play. And so I won't forget when I worked under David Pfeiffer at the Whidbey Academy, I got a Tulalip Tribe grant to teach the choir there. And I really had to almost, harness the creative pulse because I asked them all to come in with their instruments. And I was as inclusive as I could be with the children as far as what music they were already into and incorporating that into the choir. And we had to perform. Children love to perform. And even if they don't do it completely correctly, they don't mind.
Right.
But I like having journals for the children so that they can write and create. And for children, there has to be, I'm not, I've been hired like for the alternative schools. Yeah. School, Waldorf in the city, Whidbey Academy, and then Island Christian Academy. I mean, my programs are not ones that can really be set inside a structure that's already set.
Yeah.
No, I don't follow rules very well because I think mine are better. I mean, and then within usually in a homeschool program or in an alternative school program, I do fit in.
Right. So in the alternative school setting, do you think that there's more making sure that kids have access to the arts?
Absolutely.
Equitably?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think that alternative school programs are somewhat based on the homeschool logos as far as how the families can be in the classroom with the children as well, the interaction with the children with each other. There's a lot more freedom in what they learn as a young person that they can create. And I think that the development of the person is richer because they get sad. Well, they can play their instrument and they don't have to go onto their device. Yeah. I think it's really important right now. It seems important to the children that I've taught.
So in teaching children, or even adults, but in teaching children specifically, have there been any powerful moments from your teaching that stuck with you over the years?
Yeah. When I taught at the Waldorf School in Lake City Way, I did one assignment that I was given at a college level, really, at Cornish. I sort of changed it, and I said, okay, so when you walk around on your way home or your way to school, can you use elements of nature and create a tone poem? And so this one boy, Micah, when we were doing this whole thing, he was like raising his hand, and he said, well, what if I don't want to do it? What if I don't want to do it? I said, well, he went, the reasons why he didn't want to do it. I said, well, why don't you write an essay why you don't want to do it? Okay. So then when everybody came back and they were sharing their tone poems, he was really wanting to be heard. He was raising his hand and just wanting some space but he wrote it.
Right.
And he was to hand it in to me.
Right.
And I just said, I just said he wanted to share that. And I said, well, you didn't do the assignment, but you wrote an essay, so I'd like to read it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty upsetting to him. And then I remember at the end of the semester, he literally, well, then he was able to share it. Right. But then he literally slid in on his knee and proposed to me.
Cute.
I promise you, it's a true story. Yeah. So I thought that I really upset him.
Right.
But I actually didn't. I made him think.
So let's transition to your integrated practice in healing arts. I had to ask you how to pronounce this, but the Qigong, you blend music with movement, and you can explain to the listener what, did I say that wrong? Qigong?
Oh, you said it perfectly right.
And sound healing. So how do you see these modalities working together in a performance and also in helping with healing?
Well, for me, I think one thing led to another. Pitch, vibration, and tuning forks. And the sound, those tuning forks, the pitch is so precise and it really opens up the ear for me as a singer. And so as a vocal coach, I think it's made me a better vocal coach. But sound healing is another way to reach people with tuning forks and singing bowls in a quiet way, where I can actually feel the energy. You use the tuning forks on meridians and acupoints like you would if you were using needles in acupuncture. So it's a similar practice.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what does it do to the body as a whole?
So you use 2 at a time, and that's an interval. And then you put them on a meridian, which could be a spleen point and a kidney point. And you turn it, then you do a different meridian, and then that's when they're lying on their back, and then you do a variety of other things, and then before they turn around on their stomach, I'm doing the singing bowl. So intermittently, I'm using other tools to sort of put them in a state where they can't think and they can just feel. So these people that are the patients or client, they'll send me 5 different points of how they're doing. And then I create the session according to that with the research, the tools that I have, books and different things. That some are the Chinese acupuncture books, and some are the books from the school that I studied 10 levels with, which is in New Mexico, and they have teachers all over the United States that teach this. My teacher was from Lopez.
From Lopez.
Yeah, Carmen Chicati.
Okay. From Lopez
Island.
Okay, I was about to say, Tony Lopez, I know is Lopez Island.
Yes.
In New Mexico.
And sometimes I would go up there for a weekend module, and sometimes I'd have it in my space or at the Earth Sanctuary. We did one there.
Okay. So selfishly, I put this question in here. For someone like myself who doesn't sing or perform professionally, what's the benefit of voice work for someone like me? Like, can it help in everyday life? Can it help professionally?
I think that can help reduce anxiety. I know that it can because, like, I'm from New York and I used to talk like this. So it has helped me with my stress, and my ability to do Qigong and meditate. I remember when I first moved here and I'd be on the bus trying to do a meditation was very difficult. So the vocal coaching and the singing and the warm-ups, I think that it helps a person communicate. It fills a gap in a person's life where they may not be able to express themselves in their family or in a relationship, or they've lost a partner, or they're going through grief. And I think that it's a shapeshifter in that way. And it can be. I think it's extremely healing. And I think for yourself, like you've sung in church, I think, the students that I've had that have sung in church usually just have a great voice for a beginning, for even a professional singing voice, because you've always sung with your heart.
Right. Okay.
And you can really see that with gospel singers.
I always thought it was because I sang from my diaphragm, because that's what they're always like, sing from your diaphragm. And when my husband and I like to watch these singing competitions, and I'm like, everyone's singing with their head voice. I wonder
that's the modern
if
thing.
They're even taught anymore about singing from your diaphragm.
Unless you listen to Andrea Bocelli, right?
Yeah, true.
Right.
Okay, so let's say that I ask you to create a Whidbey soundtrack.
Okay.
What 3 songs or sound would you make to put on that
My
list?
favorite things.
My favorite things
From the Sound of Music.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
Both Sides Now.
Yeah.
Judy Collins wrote, but Joni Mitchell made famous.
You said Joni Mitchell, then I knew what that was.
Yeah, and then a song called Midnight Sun. Or, actually, no, Nature Boy.
Nature Boy. So who sings that?
Nat King Cole was the first person to sing that.
Okay.
And he made it famous, and Ibn Abbas was the writer. And he was sort of a nomadic sort of fellow.
So do you remember back in the day, my mom had this subscription where once a month she would get a record from the classics, Beethoven, Bach, all of them. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, so we had a whole long thing of those records.
Yes, we did too.
And we had lots of Christian music, but my mother loved Nat King Cole. And so we listened to him, especially at Christmas time.
Oh my gosh.
And for some reason, I don't know, it was my dad or her, liked Anne Murray. I don't know why we had Anne Murray, but we had that too.
Yeah.
But that's what was always on.
Yes.
And I know this wasn't that rebellious, but when I first got my own room and my own clock radio, I was, laying on my bed, listening to music that wasn't classical, wasn't Christian, and my mom comes in and says, could we please listen to something more uplifting? I'm like, this is uplifting me.
Well, that's how I felt. That's how I felt as a youngster when I would listen to Stevie Wonder and Cat Stevens and Burn Incense. And my mother was also, can you just listen to some Barbra Streisand?
Yeah, I bet she did.
I also will say that, Leonard Bernstein, any of his music was, I grew up with Leonard Bernstein's Concerts for Children. I was in the audience.
Well, my father didn't grow up around music, but he grew up in the Bronx.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And
whereabouts?
On St. Anne's, and I think you said 14th, it rang the bell, but I know that it was off of St. Anne's.
Nice.
In a Coldwater flat above a liquor store.
Well, I didn't grow up far from there. I was in Manhattan, the tip of Manhattan.
Right. Yeah. That was
Washington Heights.
Right.
Not far from the Bronx.
That's where he grew up.
That's amazing. Very similar.
Yeah.
background.
My mom's from Fort Worth, Texas, and my dad is from the Bronx.
Wow.
I know.
We used to go to the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah.
A lot.
My mom is a natural redhead, so he was Irish with black hair and blue eyes. So they were just,
Oh my gosh.
When he saw her in Texas,
what
it
a
was
great
just
couple.
like a beeline. Yeah. Okay. I like to do rapid fire questions just for fun, and so hopefully none of these will be surprising for you, and you can answer them or just whatever you want to say to them.
Okay.
Okay. First one. Coffee, tea, or vocal warm-up juice of choice? Like, what do you like to drink if you do that at all, to warm up?
Juice.
Juice. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I had always heard tea for musicians, but what does juice do differently?
Well, it would be lemon water.
Lemon water. Okay.
I won't drink anything hot or really cold.
Okay.
Because it sort of falsely warms up the voice.
Okay. I didn't know any of that. What's the one song that always gets you singing out loud no matter where you are?
Something's Coming.
By?
Leonard Bernstein.
Yes. heard that in the movie.
I don't know what it is, but I know that it is going to be great.
Yeah. Did you see that movie about him?
I did, and I've also seen so many of those shows on Broadway. But I did see the movie.
Yeah.
It was great. It was so great.
It was so intense.
It was great to learn more about him.
Absolutely. So what's more intimidating, singing in front of strangers or teaching teenagers?
Teaching teenagers.
I thought you were going to say that. Okay. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's one instrument you wish you could play effortlessly?
Cello.
Cello. First concert you ever went to, even as a child, was the first concert?
Leonard Bernstein's Concerts for Children.
Oh, wow. Man, what a memory. Favorite sound on Whidbey Island?
Birds.
What's your pre-performance ritual, or do you have a superstition?
My ritual is sitting at the piano and doing warm-ups.
Warm-ups?
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have any superstitions?
No, hopefully nobody's listening to me because they're pretty extensive.
Okay. If you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
Farming.
Farming. Okay. And last but not least, finish this sentence. Everyone should sing because
it heals the heart.
Oh, that's a good answer. It heals the heart.
It heals the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So, and before we go, I want you to introduce our little sound makers, the little noise makers. Just introduce them to the listeners so they'll know who they are.
Well, the 2-year-old is Luna.
And Luna is what kind of dog?
Luna is a golden cavapoo, so golden retriever, mini poodle cavalier.
Okay.
And the silent one is Bear.
Is Bear.
But he's 14. So he's polite.
Yeah. And so what is Bear?
Bear is a cockapoo.
Cockapoo.
Yeah. And that's a poodle and a cocker spaniel.
Well, thank you so much, Jana. I had a great time talking with you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Everyone will enjoy this interview.
Oh my gosh. I totally enjoyed meeting with you.
Real quick. Let's talk about, totally forgot. So forgive me. So where can people find you?
They can find me on Drew's List. They can find me if they Google music teacher on Google or voice teacher.
Do you have any, and you have a website?
I do, janaszabo.com.
And also your nonprofit.
And Arts Alive Whidbey.
I know, I can't believe I forgot that. But
that's okay.
Tell the listener real quick what Arts Alive Whidbey is.
Well, it's a guild for artists to be able to offer classes to children where the children can come for free.
Yeah.
And the teachers can be paid.
Right. Good.
And so the events to raise money for events, for performance events, for all different kinds of performances to raise money, and then to be able to put on projects and write grants for these projects. And I'm just about to write a grant for a project for children to be able to come to different classes, music classes for free, and hiring certain teachers that would like to be on that staff to teach those classes that we will be offering.
Okay. Thank you so much. And you can go to janaszabo.com, and that's JANASCABO.com.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Thank you.
All
yes.
Right. Thank you, Jana.
Thank you so much for this time. I enjoy your podcast, and it's so nice to meet you.
You too.
It's been really great.
Great.